The Senate Judiciary Committee hearing for Pam Bondi's nomination as Attorney General of the United States was nothing short of a spectacle. Bondi's history, actions, and responses during the hearing reveal not only her unsuitability for the role but also her apparent alignment with Donald Trump's personal agenda. From her troubling track record to her evasive testimony, the hearing painted a clear picture of a nominee deeply intertwined with partisan politics and conflicts of interest. First, let's address the glaring question: why does Pam Bondi, someone seemingly uninterested in the responsibilities of the Attorney General's office, seek confirmation for the position? The answer appears straightforward. Bondi's objective is not to serve the American people, but to continue acting as Trump's personal attorney under the guise of a federal role. Her priority seems to be advancing Trump's vendettas and shielding him from legal scrutiny, rather than upholding justice and ensuring the safety of the American public. This agenda was evident in her responses and lack of concrete plans for the office. Pam Bondi's tenure as Florida's Attorney General from 2011 provides critical insight into her ethics and priorities. During her time in office, complaints poured in from Floridians who had been defrauded by Trump University. Rather than pursuing justice for these victims, Bondi's office declined to investigate. This decision coincided suspiciously with a $25,000 donation from Trump to Bondi's campaign. Such actions set a troubling precedent, suggesting a willingness to prioritize personal and political gains over public service. The Senate hearing also highlighted Bondi's consistent alignment with Trump's narratives, particularly regarding his baseless claims of election fraud. Senator Dick Durbin's pointed questioning underscored Bondi's refusal to unequivocally acknowledge the legitimacy of the 2020 presidential election. When asked directly whether she believed Joe Biden legally won the presidency, Bondi evaded the question, opting for a noncommittal response that echoed standard Trump-aligned rhetoric: Joe Biden is the President of the United States. This avoidance speaks volumes about her inability to separate partisan loyalty from the responsibilities of impartial justice. Durbin's questioning also revealed Bondi's troubling stance on Trump's infamous January 2, 2021, call to Georgia's Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. During this call, Trump pressured Raffensperger to find 11,780 votes, a blatant attempt to overturn Georgia's election results. Bondi admitted to having heard about the call but claimed she had not listened to the recording in full. This lack of engagement, especially given her role as a staunch Trump advocate, strains credibility. Her body language during this exchange, shifting her gaze and avoiding direct eye contact, only reinforced the perception that she was being dishonest. Moreover, Bondi's testimony exposed her partisan leanings and lack of transparency regarding her professional background. Senator Durbin raised concerns about her extensive lobbying work for foreign governments and large corporations, conflicts of interest that Bondi failed to disclose. Such omissions are not only unethical but potentially illegal, further disqualifying her from a position that demands the highest standards of integrity. The most egregious aspect of Bondi's hearing was her inability to provide straightforward answers to critical questions about election integrity and the peaceful transition of power. When pressed to acknowledge the legitimacy of the 2020 election results, Bondi deflected, referencing vague concerns about election integrity without substantiating her claims. Her refusal to explicitly condemn Trump's falsehoods about a stolen election reflects a broader strategy among Trump loyalists to undermine democratic norms while avoiding accountability. Bondi's evasive answers extended to her role in Trump's post-election efforts. She vaguely mentioned being on the ground in Pennsylvania as an advocate for the campaign, claiming to have witnessed unspecified things. This lack of detail and reliance on innuendo mirrors the discredited narratives propagated by Trump's legal team, including Rudy Giuliani. Giuliani's baseless accusations of election fraud have not only been debunked, but have also resulted in significant legal repercussions, including the loss of his law license and defamation lawsuits. Bondi's alignment with such tactics raises serious questions about her judgment and credibility. The Republican Party's unanimous support for Bondi's nomination underscores a broader issue: the prioritization of partisan loyalty over democratic principles. By backing a nominee with a clear record of partisanship and ethical lapses, Republicans signal their willingness to sacrifice the integrity of the Department of Justice for political gain. This trend, filling key positions with individuals loyal to Trump rather than qualified public servants, poses a significant threat to the rule of law and the independence of federal institutions. Bondi's nomination also highlights a troubling pattern of Republicans weaponizing the Department of Justice to advance Trump's personal and political agenda. From labeling investigations into Trump as witch hunts to echoing his calls for prosecuting political opponents, Bondi has demonstrated a willingness to use her position to serve Trump rather than the American people. This partisan approach undermines the fundamental purpose of the Department of Justice: to uphold the law impartially and protect the rights of all citizens. The hearing's revelations should serve as a wake-up call for Democrats and all those committed to preserving democracy. While it is essential to push back against such nominations, a defensive strategy alone is insufficient. Democrats must develop a proactive approach to counter the growing influence of Trump-aligned individuals in federal institutions. This includes investing in outreach efforts to win back support in key regions, addressing voter concerns, and promoting policies that strengthen democratic norms and institutions. Pam Bondi's nomination is not just a test of her qualifications, but a broader reflection of the state of American politics. Her track record, evasive testimony, and partisan loyalties make it clear that she is unfit for the role of Attorney General. As the Senate considers her confirmation, it must weigh the long-term implications of endorsing a nominee who prioritizes personal and political loyalty over the rule of law. The stakes are high, and the decisions made today will shape the future of American democracy.